Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Warcraft 3 replay cast. And today it is a 1 vs 1 on Amazonia. It's the replay of the week between our teal human players, Zeikooo, and down at the bottom, we have Mona.Chahrour. And a cold hard fact of life, reading is hard, particularly people's internet names. So I really don't know how to pronounce that. And no disrespect, but it should be a really, really good replay regardless. I'm going to go ahead and speed this on up to the 8x mark. About the 2-minute point of the game, when everything gets good and all the heroes come out, you have Death Knight for the undead player. And we'll see if the Death Knight decides to use one of the two undead starting strategies, which is usually just to get a bunch of ghouls and creep, or the other strategy is to go find your opponent while he is creeping. He or she is creeping, if I want to be PC about this. And you try to steal a kill from your opponent, and really screws over your opponent. Sometimes you can steal the item and various things while you tech up and essentially just have a few ghouls getting your lumber while you get spiders out or what have you. Now the Archmage has received a Circlet of Nobility, one of the better items to get in the beginning of the game, I suppose, other than Claws of Attack +6 or the faster attack speed gloves. All three are my favorite to get at the beginning. You can also get Circlet of Nobilities at the Goblin Merchants, but to get one from a creep camp is just as good, because then you don't have to pay for it. And two, then you can get another one at a Goblin Merchant camp, and you're even better. I'm going after the Nightcrawler camp here via proxy, and is now level 2. I think he got a Tome of Knowledge there. I believe that's what that was. I didn't quite see it. And for anybody that doesn't know, if you have only one hero on the map, no matter where something dies on the map, you gain experience from that. So you can have your footman go all the way down to the other side of the map and creep something, while your Archmage is all the way on this side of the map, and you will still get experience, but it does not work that way once you have two heroes. And now the Death Knight here. Down, took a little bit of damage there, down to about 175 lost. And while trying to battle these militia and footmen, and this is the strategy he is using here, and it's just basically harass your opponent while they creep. And this isn't going to be a very good camp for him to steal something from, because obviously Deathclaw does not work particularly well on spell immune monsters. And there he goes, taking down those mud golems first. Those mud golems cast slow, so you definitely want to get rid of those first. Now the Rock Golem will fall soon, but the Death Knight is very, very close. And here comes the Rock Golem actually just chasing after it. And I think he actually took a stun rock too there. The Rock Golem actually throws a stone, or a rock, I suppose, and will stun you, similar to a Storm Bolt, but not quite as good. I think it's just 100 damage and stuns for 2 seconds, I believe. Can't remember the actual stun time. I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell the exact stun time there. Wand of Mana Stealing for the Archmage. And this is sort of a 50-50 unit, or a 50-50 item, rather, that the Archmage got there. As some people sell that, and some people keep it. But I always like to keep it. Oh, and one more hit would take down that Death Knight. If he would have just chased it down, I think he had a missed opportunity there. He could have just easily started chasing, and most likely could have gotten one more attack on that Death Knight and killed it. But either way, now that Death Knight is going to be out of action for a while, even with the enhanced regeneration of being on Blight. He is not level 2, doesn't have Unholy Aura, and still will have to regenerate pretty much from this, or use potions to do it, which is somewhat inefficient to do in terms of the cost. And now the human player harassing the undead a little bit. Has that level 2 Water Elemental now, and level 2 Water Elemental nearly doubles the damage from the very first Water Elemental. It's a dramatic increase from a level 1 to a level 2 Water Elemental. So you want to get an Archmage level 3 as soon as possible. Pretty much any hero you want to get level 3 as soon as possible, but the Archmage is a particularly good one to be level 3. Now going after this Nightcrawler camp. Looks like he was doing that with the Crypt Fiends, but now that the human players here may be able to steal some of this experience, but will also lose possibly some of these footmen in the process. So it may be a situation where the undead is just going to get experience just from the fact that some of these footmen are dying. Now level 2 Death Knight is going to have that aura now. It's going to help him out a lot, combined with the Blight. Then he'll actually be able to regenerate at a reasonable rate. Job's done. And gets another footman kill there. These footmen are just falling like flies at the moment. Doesn't have defend, isn't using defend,
Upgrade complete.
and is just taking quite a bit of damage. from all of those Crypt Fiends, but that's usually what footmen are for anyway, aren't they? To die. Although you don't want them to die, but that's sort of the role of the footman. You know you're going to die if you're a footman, and you get called into a Warcraft 3 battle from the barracks. You're pretty screwed. You don't have much of a chance. At least it isn't a Terran Marine. You really know you're going to die if you're a Terran Marine, but a footman, at least you have somewhat of a chance. A Slippers of Agility +3 for the Archmage there. Not a particularly good item for the Archmage. Does give, I believe it gives 0.9 armor on any character. And our Ring of Protection +2. I always call that the Ring of Selling +2 because most players sell that as it's a pretty bad item in general. It doesn't really give you enough damage reduction to really warrant having it in your inventory. And I believe it gives you 65 gold when you sell it, so that can help you get Boots of Speed. That can help you get, depending on what your hero and what your situation is, can get you what you need. And the Archmage there has not sold the Slippers of Agility +3 and has not gone out over to the Goblin Merchant. Neither side has really visited the Goblin Merchant just yet at all, I don't think, which is sort of strange. Usually you see the Archmage grabbing some Boots of Speed as the Death Knight can really catch up to the Archmage pretty quickly and just continuously Death Coil, things like that. And you definitely want to get Boots of Speed against a Blade Master as well, although that isn't the situation in this game. Level 5 Sasquatch about to go down here. Oh, Lich will not get level 2. A Replenishment Potion, not too bad of an item. Going to give that to the Death Knight there. He automatically used it and is now regenerating both health and mana, so it's just a plain useful item. Although I suppose it'd be more useful to get an actual useful item rather than a replenishment potion, as there's a lot of things that can replace a replenishment potion, like scrolls of regeneration and alacrity potions. And now this Haunted Goldmine here, 3/4 health, and losing this pretty quickly. I think he lost 2 of his acolytes. Now a 3rd acolyte has been lost, so now he'll only be down to 2/5 of his income. He's producing acolytes now, but that's going to cost him, of course, to produce each one, and only at now 3/5 of the income for the undead player there. And now Scrolls of Regeneration there, and a Clarity Potion, not an Alacrity Potion. I don't know where I got Alacrity Potion from. Clarity Potion. It's nearly the same thing, though. Come on, you gotta hand it to me. Alacrity and Clarity, it's almost the same thing. We'll just pretend it is. And now the Goblin Shredder here, working hard for the human player. And a very good melee unit as well. Almost like a knight, sort of like a wannabe knight. And now going to be flying over the Granite Golem camp. And is he going to be creeping this or not? No, he's just going to fly over it and try and get back into the undead base again and do another harass. And the longer he keeps doing this, he's going to drop his Archmage off here. What is he going to pick up? Maybe a Scroll of Healing. No, a Scroll of Town Portal, because he used it the last time. So that is definitely a pretty clever idea to get one of those so you don't die inside your opponent's base. And now a Wand of Illusion here has created several of these Death Knights here. You can pretty much tell which one's the real one, as the only one that doesn't have a Wand of Illusion is the correct one. Or at least 1 or 2 of them will only have none of them.
Upgrade complete. Upgrade complete.
Going after the Haunted Goldmine again here. Not going to be able to get it. Going to have to just go after these Acolytes instead, as the repairing process is going to be a little bit too quick for this human player to be able to do too much. And that Scroll Town Portal is going to be coming sometime soon here. Going to try and get as many of these Acolyte kills as possible. Another Acolyte here about to fall, but 2 Footmen are about to fall as well. And 2 Acolytes fall here. Only 1 Acolyte left, producing multiple Acolytes right now. But this is really putting the Undead behind, just producing these Acolytes. And they probably barely made up for themselves by the time that human player hit for the second time. The Acolytes cost, I believe, 75. So you're gonna have to actually make 75 just to pay for itself before you even start making profit back from that Acolyte. So it's producing 1 additional Acolyte. Doesn't really need that extra Acolyte. We'll be at 5 out of 5 soon here, and we'll have a second one here, and very unnecessary to have another Acolyte, although it makes building slightly faster and easier, then you don't have to take one off the line, but you still really don't need to make one. A potion of greater healing for the Death Knight here. I'm not sure if that drops off this camp or not, but that is a very, very good item to have. And now we have a Mountain King coming out with a second hero for our human player. And we have another Zeppelin moving on out. It looks like he's going to do the same thing again here. And this is really, really going to just be torture for the undead player. Now he's actually using one of these acolytes to repair the Black Citadel, which is also costing him funds to do that as well. So this undead player right now is just costing so much money here. And the footmen now do have defend. Looks like they're using defend now. And against these spirit towers here, one of the spirit towers gone there, and I'm not sure if that was destroyed or sold. And now the acolytes here trying to get away, just going to try and save these, and this is what he should have been doing from the start. But the problem is he's got to keep this gold mine too, and if he loses this gold mine, then he's going to have to re-haunt it, and that's going to be even more lost. So right now he's in a pretty bad situation. He really either needs more spirit towers or just keep more defense back home here. The Archmage did not get a Scroll of Town Portal there, so I'm not sure what he was thinking there. He's going to try to pick it up with the Goblin Zeppelin, but the Goblin Zeppelin was way too far. He was spacing out and didn't follow orders correctly. And now going to pick up a couple of these footmen here. Going to pick up another one and bail out of there. And I'm not sure if these Crypt Fiends have web or not. It looks like he's chasing now, and I did not see it get webbed, obviously, so I don't think he does right now. And he really should just keep this Goblin Zeppelin back here or something like that so that it doesn't get sniped there by the Lich, as the Lich moves pretty quickly with this level 2 Unholy Aura on that level 4 Death Knight. Archmage now revived at the tavern. Reviving at the tavern revives you at half health and no mana, but not too big of a deal for a Archmage, particularly when you have a level 2 Brilliant Aura. Cloak of Shadow sitting on the ground there and should be picked up by one of these heroes, as there's a shop right here. You could just pick that up and sell that, and you would get a little bit of cash. Why not? Cash money, always good. Now gonna bust out a Clarity Potion here, and now turbo regenerating with that Brilliant Aura 2. And now going after the Troll Camp here. Gauntlets of Ogre, Strength +3 and a +6 on the Death Knight. So a +9 Strength on this Death Knight. This Death Knight is a tank now. 1175 for a level 4 Death Knight. That is insane. So he is a true tank. As you can see, this Lich only has a mere 575 compared to 1175. So that is one tanky Death Knight. I really hope he doesn't sell those, and I hope he gets even more, because I just like to see ridiculous heroes in Warcraft 3. I think that's the funnest thing, is the RNG of getting a ridiculous hero. And now the Mountain King here going to take care of that. Flute of Accuracy is dropped for the human player, and I always recommend that you keep the Flute of Accuracy on a human player. I see some people sell this sometimes as human, and it hurts my heart. And it should be placed on the Archmage, as the Archmage produces water elementals. And not that it doesn't affect the water elementals on the Mountain King, but of course the Archmage is usually going to be around its own water elementals as he produces them. And as you can see, a level 2 water elemental is affected greatly by the Flute of Accuracy. +4 damage is very nice. It also affects your spell breakers and your casters, should he be getting those, and it doesn't look like that is the case, so it's not going to affect him that much in this particular build. But the usual human build that consists of sorceresses, priests, and spell breakers, it helps a lot. Also helps the Archmage itself. So now 3 heroes versus 2 heroes, level 4 Death Knight and a level 3 Lich. Looks like Staff Preservation goes off there on that Paladin, sends him on home.
Our forces are under attack.
Staff of Sanctuary, rather. So he's going to be stuck there to the castle until he is full health, so just regenerating quickly. Staff of Sanctuary, always a good item, but sort of takes one of your units out of the situation for a little while, rather than just sending them on home. And now we have 2 siege engines in the undead base here, going after the Slaughterhouse. A very good idea. Slaughterhouse producing a meat wagon to battle these. Also a very good idea, but being repaired up right now. And just because this is being repaired up and he may fail to take down the Slaughterhouse is not necessarily a big deal. It is costing the undead player quite a bit to repair that, and has also taken them off the graveyard, which costs him a bit too in terms of the economy. Now his Granite Golem camp is going to go down here shortly, and it's going to take quite a while to take down this Granite Golem. He's going after the Rock Golems first, and produces a Tome of Strength. I believe that's a Tome of Strength +2 from a level 6 Rock Golem. And the Undead player is doing the same thing here, going after the other Rock Golem camp. So both doing this at the same time here. And I can't seem to click it. Yeah, it is a Tome of Strength +2. I would imagine so from a level 6 unit. And now Hood of Cunning for the Mountain King there. Not a particularly good item. And Agility and Intelligence +4, I suppose. Why not? And now the Undead player going after his own Rock Golem or Granite Golem camp. And I'm not sure what tome dropped for him, but it clearly picked it up. And there goes that Granite Golem Legion Doomhorn. So not a very good item for that Undead player because he simply doesn't need that. That is not going to help him out at all. Did sell that Gauntlets of Ogre Strength, so he only has the Belt of Giant Strength now. So he did lose a little bit of health. He did have 1175 at level 4, and now at level 5 he has 1150. So he didn't really lose particularly too much. He lost 25 there, but going up a level, so he would be probably 1250 about now. I'm not sure. I'm not going to do the math just sitting here. That wouldn't be good. And now the Knights are being upgraded as well. Level 1 and level 2 upgrades there for them, and level 2 too for these spiders. And sometimes you don't see, which is actually surprising because a lot of times you don't actually see upgrades in Warcraft 3 as they are honestly pretty minimal. The upgrades aren't as good as say in StarCraft, where you do a solid amount of damage, and the armor itself is a solid reduction as well, and not just like a percentile. A lot of people just save the money to simply get more units or more stuff for their heroes. Now going to go after the Crypt Fiend here, but wisely using that Frost Armor. As you can see, now the Knight's so slow. And now focusing down one of those Knights, but uses Staff of Preservation, sends that on home. Now going after another Crypt Fiend here. Death Coil saves that. Hasn't really been able to take down any Crypt Fiends, I don't believe. I think the Death Coils have been saving it so far. Holy Light saving the Knights as well. There goes one with a Death Coil. So now no healing for a little while. But the Death Knight has plenty of mana. It's a very high amount of mana. Death Knight hasn't really been using Death Coil that much, so he has like pretty much full mana. And now down to 232, but he can still use Death Coil quite a bit at that amount. He uses his Potion of Greater Mana, or Potion of Greater Health. So gains 500 health. Now just going to scroll Town Portal out of here. And I think the Undead player came out on top on that one. I think he got a little bit more experience and a little bit more kills. Level 5 Death Knight there, pretty much unharmed. Still has quite a bit of mana, as the Death Coil only costs you 75 to use it. So with 210 mana, you can use it just about 3 times there. By the time it comes around, you can probably use it 4 times by the time you can use it 3 times there, as you would probably regenerate 75 in that amount of time. Just throwing that out there, I suppose. The Archmage in a little bit of trouble here. Looks like he wasn't paying attention for a moment there. And now really needs to back out of there and get that Archmage in the back for now. And did sell that Legion Doomhorn because it was basically an Unholy Aura, level 1 Unholy Aura at that. And it will not stack here with Unholy Aura, so it was pretty much his only choice was to sell that. Staff of Preservation goes off there on that Knight. Going to send him on home, stick him to the castle, and heal him up. And now the Lich in a little bit of trouble there. Takes a Death Coil, heals him up completely because the Lich has absolutely no health to begin with. A strong fight going on here, and both sides being very resilient, as Holy Light is from the human side there, and lots of 2 Staff of Preservations here on the heroes, between the 2 heroes, between the 3 heroes rather, and sending these Knights on home before they die. And before these spiders die, Death Coil just heals them right back up, and he's still doing very well on mana. 210 mana still. Mountain King falls, and so that's going to be a big deal there. Give a lot of experience to the Undead army. Now level 5 Death Knight, level 4 Lich, compared to a level 2 Paladin and a level 4 Archmage.
Our gold mine has collapsed.
So due to the fact of getting 3 heroes here, he's slightly behind now in terms of levels. Tavern revives that Mountain King. He's back on his way towards the battle here, but now he has no mana, so he's really not going to be too useful for a little while. The Archmage will give him mana with that Brilliance Aura, but it still will take a decent amount of time for him to get 75 mana to use Stormbolt again.
Job's done.
And I don't think the human player really has a chance here, as all of those Ziggurats have been upgraded from earlier from that harassment, which is really just going to kind of backfire on him essentially in some ways. Although he did do a lot of economic damage, now he has to deal with that defense. So as soon as he tries to get into the undead base here, there are 5 Ziggurats here that will defend. And that is quite a hefty amount of Ziggurats, of Spirit Towers rather.
Job's done.
Knights now backing off here. One of them pretty low on health. The Paladin can Holy Light at the moment and should be doing that so his cooldown can get ready again here, or be Holy Lighting the Mountain King. I suppose that is a tactical decision either way. A spider falls there. That's going to be good for the human player. Give him a little bit more experience. Needs all the experience he can get, as he has 2 level 2 heroes. So now they're 2 basically weak heroes compared to 2 pretty much strong heroes. Lich has a potion of lesser invulnerability, so really not going to be able to die very easily. He's going to have to use that potion of invulnerability first. Now 2 level 5 heroes versus 1 level 5 hero and 2 level 2 heroes. And that's how these heroes are going to die very, very easily. However, the Mountain King and Holy Light combo is really, really good against undead, particularly against the Lich, because the Lich's health is so low. What you can do is you can Stormbolt the Lich, and then you can Holy Light the Lich at the same time there.
Job's done.
And it does a tremendous amount of damage to the Lich, who doesn't really have much health to begin with. And you can do upwards of 600 or so, give or take, damage to the Lich in pretty much one blow of just using 2 skills, one right after another. And I'm going to sell this Sacrificial Pit. No longer needs that. Does have his Boneyard already, bringing out 2 Frostworms. So now the human player is going to have to adapt to that. Has only Knights at the moment. And I don't believe he has any orbs to actually physically attack the air, other than the Archmage and the Elementals that Archmage can produce. Not producing any Elementals. I'm not sure why he doesn't have any Elementals out. He has full mana, and those Elementals are super, super good. Especially level 3 Elementals do a lot of damage and could definitely help him out. Perhaps he's just not making them just due to the fact that he doesn't want to give experience to his opponent, or maybe he isn't just he isn't microing properly and not making those. Whichever the reason, he is simply not making those elementals at the moment. And level 3 elementals are level 3 elementals, pretty good. And Frostworm here, and the Death Knight going to take out one of those Knights. Even more experience for that Death Knight. Though once he gets level 6, he probably will not get his ultimate, as the Death Knight's ultimate is considered pretty bad. It usually just ends up not doing too much, and it's pretty much easy to just evade it. Basically, as soon as he does it, you just simply run away or town portal away, and then the resurrected units essentially become useless. So what happens then is you end up just getting level 3 Unholy Aura, or you get Death Pact, or what have you. Human play ready to go again, and moving out with his Knights. Doesn't have a Scroll of Regeneration, though, which is very strange. He's playing very strange and just not using... he's using human in a very strange way. He could bot a Scroll of Regeneration, and all these Knights here could be healing and the Scroll of Regeneration is extremely efficient way of healing in this game, as it only costs you 100, and it heals any amount of units for very, very little. And now level 3 Water Elemental has been produced, but instantly gets destroyed there by the 3 Frostworms. And if you would have had 2 going at once, it would have been a better. You would have been much better off. And that means producing them preemptively, producing them before the battle even starts, so that you have the cooldown ready to make another one and have 2 out. And now he has to wait for the whole cooldown again to make another elemental. And these Knights are falling like flies to the Frostworms, who do magic damage against heavy armor. So right now, he's not doing very good at all, and these knights are just feeding his opponent. Now, a level 6 Death Knight, and it appears that he didn't get level 3 Unholy Aura, and if he got the ultimate, I suppose that's okay, but the ultimate is pretty... It's questionable. It's ambiguous at best. I suppose it could be situational as well. Mountain King going to fall here to the undead player. Now the Paladin here in a really bad situation. Uses Staff of Preservation, sends that Paladin home. Now we get a few stuck units to the castle here. All healing up. And just letting those kick in. And I think the Masked Knights was not a good idea. Also, not using Scrolls of Regeneration is certainly not a particularly good idea either. Although I don't think it would have helped him out. Not like it would have turned the battle against Frostworms. It certainly would have healed all those knights up to nearly full health for only 100 gold. And now producing flying machines as fast as he can here, and they do produce pretty quick. As you can see, they always make, they always come out very, very quickly. However, they are very, very weak and die in bulk. And pumping them out 2 at a time here with the 2 workshops he's got going on. However, it does have 2 expansions going. The only problem is he's still making, he was making knights for a little too long, and I think he made his opponent's heroes a little bit too strong. Now the Lich, level 6, using Death and Decay all over this. I think Death and Decay was always one of my favorite, and is one of my favorite moves in the game. It's just so good. Just look at this. This whole thing will fall. And always cool to look at and watch the destruction of your opponent. Took out the town hall and everything. Just one ultimate took everything down. Similar to Earthquake, but I just really like the fact that it actually damages units as well. It's sort of like Earthquake, but better. And those flying machines going after the Frostworms and doing a decent amount of damage, but again, falling like flies that they are. And still producing knights, I believe. No, maybe these are just knights left over. And these are just fodder, basically, and feed, experience feed for his opponent. However, the Undead is now out of funds. He does not have an expansion. Both expansions were taken wisely by the human player and well defended, but this expansion no longer operational due to that Death and Decay. So now, if the Undead loses these units, he will have no way to replace these units. So it's not looking good now. The human player was on the downfall, and if the Undead player had an expansion at some point this game, he would definitely not be in this situation. As even though the human player has lost almost certainly more units than the undead player, losing all those knights and just fueling these heroes, he may end up winning this game just the fact that of attrition. And that is certainly one way to win Warcraft 3. Particularly on Amazonia, as there's only 2 expansions. Essentially, only 1 expansion per player. And the human player took both of them, now remaking that town hall with a bunch of peasants here. And gonna get close to the guard tower, but I don't think that's gonna save this Archmage. And oh, it may actually save the Archmage, but the Lich is now going after the Archmage here and sacrificing himself. Gonna use that invulnerability potion, but that's not gonna last too long. Has to GG out, simply doesn't have any more funding. And simply ran out of units and was doing much better. As you can see, the unit score was pretty close. Hero score way higher for the undead player. And all those knights falling. And I think just in the end, I think he caught up just in the end. Losing those Frostworms is what made his unit score a little bit better there. But you can see the undead player killed way more units and produced less units. So he was much, much more efficient in this game, but simply couldn't expand. Didn't expand at any point in the game. The human player expanded twice, and humans just so good at expanding. So level 6 hero, level 3 to 2 level 6s. So the undead player just playing more efficiently, gained more experience, everything. but the human player mined twice the amount of gold, twice the amount of lumber, well, nearly twice the amount of lumber. Actually, pretty much twice the amount of lumber there. And a pretty good game indeed. Hope you guys enjoyed the replay, and I will see you guys next time.